Hello and welcome to your Championship predictions for Game Week 5. Now before we kick off today's video, don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. And do not forget to turn on that notification bell so you'll be notified every time I make a new video. Enjoy the video. So after a very long international break, it is really exciting to be back predicting the best league in the world, which is, of course, the Championship. So without further ado, let's get things started. We kick things off on Friday night at Portman Road for Ipswich versus Sheffield United. Now, at the start of the season, I'm sure we were all thinking this is probably going to be a nice early game in the season, one which will have quite the effect on who gets promoted, with both sides probably near the top of the table. So I think it's surprising really for everyone that both these sides are actually nearer the bottom of the table. Obviously, it's still very early days, so we can't read too much into it. But it's been concerning, I think, for both of them this season. Ipswich have at least shown some glimpses in games. They've been able to get a few points on the board, while Sheffield United, they literally this season have not been able to get anything on the board, which I think is very concerning. So it's a very big game for both teams. I think especially Ruben Selles, because he needs to pick at least a point up. But really all three would be most needed. So I really don't know what to think here. Two sides who haven't been very impressive so far, but even though I think Sheffield United need it slightly more at this point, I just think Ipswich are going to be able to beat them just purely based on how they've both been this season. I just think Ipswich might be able to pull something out of the bag as they are at home. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 Ipswich win. Next up, we go to the Valley for Charlton versus Millwall. So I think, well, both sides have had weird starts to the season. Both had moments, points. Obviously, Charlton have been able to pick up a win since their home day victory over Watford, and I think most of Charlton games are very narrow, and not very high scoring. And what do I expect to happen in this game? I expect a very tight game, to be honest with you. And if there are goals, I don't think there's going to be that many goals. And equally from a Millwall point of view, they're generally quite good away from home. So they'll obviously be wanting to come here and try and snatch all 3 points, but I don't think it's going to be as easy as that, just because Charlton make themselves very hard to play against. And I just really don't see any goals being scored here. I could be absolutely proven very wrong towards the end of the game, but I think I'm going to lock in a 0-0 draw. I just don't think there's going to be anything to separate them. I just think it's going to turn out to be a very straightforward game. Next up, we go to Oxford versus Leicester. Well done to Oxford picking up a point against Coventry in the game just before the international break, drawing 2-2 at home to them. And I wasn't very kind to them in my prediction in that game. I think I predicted them to get quite comfortably beaten. And obviously in the end they ended up, well, obviously conceding a couple, but then they were able to score a couple, which I think is very encouraging. So hopefully, for Oxford's sake, they'll be starting to kick into gear now and start getting some more points on the board, which is very important in their trying to survive. So yeah, encouraging for them. And Leicester, I was very impressed. They were able to beat Birmingham at home on the Friday night 2-0, which was a very important result, because yet again, it seems with these relegated sides, none of them have really properly started the season how I thought they would. And yeah, Leicester have shown some moments, but yeah, they've still not 100% kicked into gear. But I do think they're going to be able to beat Oxford in this game, because I think their quality, especially in some attacking areas when I think they can score a couple of goals. So I'm going to go for Leicester to get a 2-1 away win. Next up, we go to Preston versus Middlesbrough. And yeah, Middlesbrough, we'll start with them, because obviously they have been the best side in the league so far this season, winning all 4 of their matches, which is very encouraging, considering at the start of the season I was a little bit concerned after they lost that I think it was a game to Doncaster in the Carabao Cup where they lost like 4-0 at home or something. And then they were playing Millwall on the Saturday, who looked like they had a few goals in them. And I remember they ended up winning that one, Middlesbrough. And yeah, Middlesbrough, I've been very, very impressed with them. Literally nothing really bad to say. However, I do think this game is going to be quite tough for them because Preston have been themselves very, very good this season. Obviously, I think they're going to be annoyed that they lost 1-0 to Portsmouth away just before the international break. But they've had some very impressive results so far this season. And at Deepdale, I really don't like to bet against Preston because I think they can be a solid outfit at home. So I don't know what to expect here. I think it's going to be a tight game of football. Both sides will cancel each other out, I think. And I think it's going to end up being a 1-1 draw. Not a lot to separate these two sides, in my opinion. Next up, we go to the CBS4 Coventry versus Norwich. And to me, this game absolutely epitomises goals aplenty. Both sides have been involved in very high scoring games this season. Like for instance, Coventry, I think the perfect example of that was when they won 5-4 away at Derby. Obviously able to score 5 goals, but then at the same time they conceded 4 goals. So it just shows they can be absolutely ruthless attacking, but then they can be very, very open defensively. And against a side like Norwich with their defence, I think that's very, very concerning for Norwich. But then, equally, Norwich's attack, or like with Josh Sargent, would he be able to get a couple past the Coventry defence as well, which can be sometimes very open. So I definitely think there's goals in this game. But I really don't like to bet against Coventry at home because I think Coventry at home can be very, very impressive. So therefore, I'm going to go for a 3-1 home win for the Sky Blues. So yeah, I think there's going to be a few goals, but I think Coventry have got enough to get past Norwich. Next up to Sheffield Wednesday versus my side, Bristol City. So the previous game before the international break for Sheffield Wednesday was at home to Swansea when they ended up losing 2-0. And I mean, throughout the season, if, for instance, if you look at the Wrexham game Sheffield Wednesday played, Sheffield Wednesday were able to be really, really good in that game and get a couple of goals, and end up getting a good, very, very good draw. But then, at home, losing to Swansea is going to be a little bit annoying. And I don't think Sheffield Wednesday are too far away from getting their first home win. And will it come in this game? I'm really not sure. Obviously, my side, Bristol City, I think we've had a generally positive start to the season. I think we look pretty tight under Gerhard Struber. I think we've always got some goals in us. We can sometimes be a little bit leaky, but I do like our defence and I like our attack, and I think we're building something very, very good. And obviously against Hull, conceded an early goal, and then we were able to put a few goals past them in the end, which was very, very good and promising as well. With obviously Reece getting a brace, which I think is going to do wonders for his confidence. So I think City might just have enough for Sheffield Wednesday here, but I don't think we're going to walk away with it. I'm going to go for a 2-1 away win. And now we are going to Stoke versus Birmingham. So we kind of touched upon Birmingham a bit earlier in the video when we were talking about Leicester beating them on the Friday night 2-0, when obviously Birmingham were away. And yeah, whilst I think they're going to be a bit annoyed with that result, I don't think many teams are going to be going to Leicester and getting much this season. So I don't, they've just got to move on and focus on this game, which is not going to be easy at all because Stoke have been very impressive this season. I don't think it's any discredit losing at home to West Brom because West Brom have been very impressive themselves. So, and it was a very tight game, and on another day, Stoke may well have got something out of it. So yeah, at the end of the day, they've got to pick themselves back up and try and get something out of Birmingham. So I'm not sure what I think here. I think it's going to be another tight game of football. I'm not sure how many goals I think there's going to be in it, but I think I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. maybe Stoke go 1-0 up, Birmingham make it 1-1, Stoke go 2-1 up, and then Birmingham make it 2-2. I could see something like that happening, I think. So yeah, we'll see what goes on there. Now to Swansea versus Hull. So obviously Swansea got a good away win before the international break, beating Sheffield Wednesday 2-0 at Hillsborough, as we previously spoke about. Which yeah, is another solid result for Alan Sheehan's men. And yeah, I'm interested to see if they're able to get another win going up against the Hull side, who I just didn't play very open. And yeah, I said in the game when I saw them up close and personal, they've definitely got a lot of frailties in that side, which will mean they'll be conceding a lot of goals, I'm sure, this season. But then at the same time, they seem to have a couple of goals in them every game. So I'm really not sure here. But the one thing I am sure of is I think Swansea will win. I'm just not sure how they're going to win. Because Swansea haven't really been involved in many high-scoring games this season. But because it's Hull, and I think, as I said, I think Hull games are very open. I'm going to go for Swansea to get a 3-2 home win. I don't think it's going to be an easy one to get over the line, but I do think they are just going to do it. Moving on to Watford versus Blackburn. Obviously neither side was able to win before the international break. Watford drew 2-2 at home with Southampton, which I think on the face of it, it'll be a bit of a frustrating result. But, yet again, I don't know how many sides are realistically going to be beating Southampton this season. So I think for them to get a solid 2-2 draw is not too bad. And then for Blackburn as well, they lost 2-0 at home to Norwich, which I was quite surprised by, to be fair. And yeah, Blackburn are always a very hard side to predict, and to be fair, Watford are as well. So it's kind of two very unpredictable sides going up against each other. So yet again, I'm not quite sure what to expect here, but I think I'm gonna go for Watford to get a solid 2-1 home win. Next up to West Brom versus Derby. Now this is a really good test. Well, I think anyway, to see what West Brom are really made of this season, because obviously West Brom have been very impressive this season under Ryan Mason. But traditionally Derby have been West Brom's bogey team. So is all their success so far this season going to come undone here against their bogey side, or are they really on something this season? Are they going to carry on getting all these really impressive victories? And I really don't like to ever bet against West Brom at the Hawthorns, because I think they can be really ruthless here, and especially against a side like Derby as well, who, well, I think they've recovered slightly from, earlier in the season when I think they were struggling with injuries, especially. I think they managed to pull some of that back now, so I think they're in a bit of a better position than they were. So they'll obviously be hoping to go and get a traditional win at West Brom. But, and I don't like to go against, like when teams have like bogey teams. I really don't, because it normally ends up backfiring. So I could be very wrong here, but I just don't like to bet against West Brom. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 West Brom victory. Next up to Wrexham versus QPR. So obviously Wrexham last week got, or 2 weeks ago I should say, got a 2-0 away win at Millwall, which I was very impressed by. Obviously that was a bit of a crazy game as well, a bit like the Ipswich game, where it was an absolutely ridiculous amount of added time, where obviously I think Danny Ward got stretchered off as well in stoppage time. But I think but hopefully he'll be on the mend now, even though he obviously won't be available for this one, I wouldn't imagine. So with Wrexham getting a very impressive win here, I think they're ready to go and get some more wins now, because I think once that first win was to come in for Wrexham, I think that's when they're going to really start to build up. The victories start to ramp up a little bit. So I think from that point of view, that's very encouraging. And obviously for QPR, they got an impressive 3-1 home win against Charlton. And considering Charlton have been quite hard to beat this season, I think that was very encouraging for QPR. So I really don't know what to expect in this one either. Oh, gosh, I don't know. I really am puzzled in this one with what to expect. With both sides getting such good victories, I don't know, but yet again, this one could backfire. I see goals because both sides seem to have goals in them. I just think Wrexham with home advantage might be able to get the win, but I don't think it's going to be like an easy win at all. I think QPR are going to make it very hard. Next up to the South Coast Derby for Southampton versus Portsmouth. Now I for one cannot wait for this game. This is the first time these sides have met in the league for absolutely ages. I think they met in the Carabao Cup, I think it was a few years ago. But obviously, in the league is a little bit different with a lot to play for. Obviously for both these sides this season. So, Southampton got a 2-2 away draw at Watford before the international break. So, I think that was a solid point, but yet again, they'll be hoping for more. Will still, though, I'm sure, have his players pumped up, ready to match the fans' atmosphere to try and win this game. And obviously for Portsmouth, beating Preston 1-0, I don't think it's too bad at all, considering Preston have been very strong this season. Obviously with John Swift as well getting an assist in that game. And if John Swift really gets up and going this season, I think he could be a very good signing for Portsmouth. So I think in this game, a derby is obviously always very hard to predict because it doesn't matter how well a team's doing in the league in the season. You know, a derby just feels more like a one-off game where anything can happen, whoever rises to the occasion. But I am going to go for a 2-2 draw. If I had to pick a side, I probably would edge to Southampton. But I think Portsmouth are going to be well up for this, as will Southampton. And I think it's just going to be a 2-2 draw. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like, share, comment your predictions, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one.